I am Usha Pathak. Elders, please accept my respect and love to youngers. Today, I want to say something about the rules of syntax. The leading principles to be observed in the construction of sentences are embraced in the following 24 rules, which are arranged as nearly as possible in the order of the parts of speech. Rule first, articles. Articles related to the nouns which they limit. Rule second, nominatives. A noun or a pronoun which is the subject of a finite verb must be in the nominative case. Rule third, opposition. A noun or a personal pronoun used to explain a preceding noun or pronoun is put by opposition in the same case. Rule 4, possessive. A noun or a pronoun in the possessive case is governed by the name of the thing possessed. Rule 5, objectives. A noun or a pronoun made the object of an active transitive verb or participle is governed by it in the objective case. Rule 6, same cases. A noun or a pronoun put after a verb or participle not transitive agrees in case with a preceding noun or pronoun referring to the same thing. Rule 6, objectives. A noun or a pronoun made the object of a preposition is governed by it in the objective case. Rule 8, nominative absolute. A noun or a pronoun is put absolute in the nominative when its case depends on no other word. Rule 9, adjectives. Adjectives relate to nouns or pronouns. Rule 10, pronouns. A pronoun must agree with its antecedent or the noun or pronoun which is represents in person, number and gender. Rule 11, pronouns. When the antecedent is a collective noun conveying the idea of plurality, the pronoun must agree with it in the plural number. Rule 11, pronouns. When a pronoun has two or more antecedents connected by and it must agree with them jointly in the plural because they are taken together. Rule 12, pronouns. When a pronoun has two or more antecedents connected by or nor, it must agree with them singly and not as if taken together. Rule 13, finite verbs. Every finite verb must agree with its subject or nominative in the person and number. Rule 14, finite verbs. When the nominative is a collective noun conveying the idea of plurality, the verb must agree with it in the plural number. Rule 15, verbs, finite verbs. When a verb has two or more nominatives connected by and it must agree with them jointly in the plural because they are taken together. Rule 16, finite verbs. When a verb has two or more nominatives connected by or nor, it must agree with them singly and not as if taken together. Rule 17. Infinitives. The infinitive mode is governed in general by the preposition to, which commonly connected it to a finite verb. Rule 18. Infinitives. The active verbs beat, dare, feel, hear, let, make, need, see, and their participle usually take the infinitive after them without the preposition to. Rule 18. Participle. Participles related to nouns or pronouns or else are governed by preposition. Rule 19. Adverbs. Adverbs related to verbs, participles, adjectives, or other adverbs. Rule 20. Conjunction. Conjunction connected words, sentences, or parts of sentences. Rule 21. Prepositions. Prepositions show the relation of words and of the things or thoughts expressed by them. Rule 22. Interjection. Interjections have no dependent construction. They are but absolute, either alone or with other words. Now, some special points on syntax. An explanation of the relation, agreement, government, and the arrangement of words in sentence constitutes that part of grammar which we call syntax, but many grammarians representing this branch of their subject as consisting of two parts only concord and government say little or nothing of the relation and arrangement of words except as these are involved in the others. The four things are essentially different in their nature, as may be seen by the definition given above. We not so distinct in practice that they can well be made the basis of any perfect division of the rules of syntax. Agreement and concord are one and the same thing. Relation and agreement, though different, may each coincide and be taken together. The latter is moreover naturally allied to the former. 7 of the 10 parts of speech are, with a few exceptions, incapable of any agreement of these. The relation and use must be explained in passing, and all requisite agreement between any of the rest is confined to words that relate to each other. For one word may relate to an other and not agree with it, but there is never any necessary agreement between words that have not a relation one to the other or a connection according to the sense. Any similarity happening between unconnected words is no syntactical concord, though it may rank the terms in the same class etymologically. From this observation, it may be seen that the most important and most comprehensive principle of English syntax is The simple relation of words, according to the sense, to this hate alone, ought to be referred all the rules of construction by which our articles, our nominatives, our adjectives, our participles, our adverbs, our conjunctions, our prepositions, and our interjection are to be passed to the ordinary syntactical use of any of these. No rules of concord, government, or position can at all apply. It so defective and erroneous are the schemes of syntax which are commonly found in our English grammars, that no rules of simple relation, none by which any of the above named parts of his speech can be consistently parsed, are in general to be found in them. If there are any conception to this censure, they are very few, and in treatise is still marked with glaring defects in regard to the syntax of some of these parts of speech. Most of our English grammars have more rules of syntax than are needed, and it are very deficient in such as are needed. It is a very common fault with the compilers of English grammars to join together in the same rule the syntax of different parts of speech, uniting laws that must ever be applied separately in parsing. It is doubtless most convenient that in all rules of the construction of cases, nouns, and pronouns be taken together, because the very same doctrines apply equally well to both, and a case is as distinct a thing in the mind as a part of a speech. This method, therefore, I have myself parsed, and it has indeed the authority of all grammarians, not excepting those who violate its principles by dropping two special rules for the relative pronoun, which are not needed. These special rules, which I shall notice again hereafter, may be seen in, which is double and contains them both. The most complex rule that I have admitted is that which embraces the government of objectives by verb and participles, the regimen by verbs, and the regimen by participles may not improperly be reckoned distinct principles, but the near alliance of participle to be their verbs seems to be a sufficient reason for preferring one rule to two in this instance. An other common fault in the treatment of this part of grammar is the practice of making many of the rules double or even triple in their form. The syntax of any language must need conform to the peculiarities of its etymology and also be consistent with itself, for all will expect better thing of a scholar than to lay down position in one part of his grammar that are inconceivable with what he has started in another. The English language, having few inflections, has also few concord or agreement, and still fewer government. Article, adjectives, and participles, which it in many other languages agree with their nouns in gender, number, and case, have usually in English. No modification in English they can agree with their noun. Government has is respected only to nouns, pronouns, verbs, participle, and preposition. The other five parts of a speech neither govern nor are governed. The governing words may be either noun or verbs or participles or prepositions. The words governed are either nouns or pronoun or verb or participles. In parsing, the learner must remember that the rules of government are not to be applied to the governing words, but to those which are governed and which, for the sake of brevity, are often technically named after the particular form or modification assumed as possessive objective infinitives. Gerundives. There are the only thing in English that can properly be said to be subjected to government, and these are always so in their own names, unless we expect such infinitives as stand in the place of nominatives. Gerundives are participles governed by prepositions, but there being little or no occasion to distinguish this form from other participles, we seldom use this name. The participle noun may be the subject or the object of a verb or may govern the possessive case before it, like any other noun. But the true English gerundive being essentially a participle and governing an object after it, like any other participle, is itself governed only by a preposition. At least this is its usual and allowed construction, and no other is acknowledged to be indisputably right. The simple relation of words in English are the following nine. First, of articles to nouns by rule. First. Second, of nominatives to verbs by rules. Second. Third, of nominatives absolute or independent by rule. Eighth. Fourth, of adjective to nouns or pronouns by rule. Ninth. Fifth, of participle to nouns or pronouns by rules. 20th. Sixth, of adverbs to verbs, participles by rules. 21st. Seventh, of conjunction as connecting words, phrases, or sentences by rule. 22. Of eighth, of preposition as showing the relation of things by rule. 23rd. Ninth, of interjection as being used independently by rule. 24th. The syntactical agreement in English, though actually much fewer than those which occur in Latin, Greek, or French, may easily be so reckoned as to amount to double or even triple the number usually spoken of by the old grammarians. The 24 rules above embrace the following 10 heads, which may not improperly be taken for so many distinct records. First, of a noun or pronoun in direct opposition with another. Second, of a noun or pronoun after a verb or participle not transitive. Third, of a pronoun with its antecedent. Fourth, of a pronoun with a collective noun. Fifth, of a pronoun with joint antecedent. Sixth, of a pronoun with distinct antecedent. Of a verb with its nominative by rule. Eighth, of a verb with a collective noun. Ninth, of a verb with joint nominatives. Tenth, of a verb with a disjunct nominatives. To this may be added two more special concord, less common explained in notes under the rule. 11th, of one verb with another in mood, tense, and form when two are connected so as to agree with the same nominative. 12. Of adjective that imply unity or plurality with their nouns in number. Again, by a different mode of reckoning them, the concord or the general principle of agreement in our language may be made to be only 3 or 4, and some of these much less general than they are in other language. Words in opposition agree in case according to many rules. Pronouns agree with their nouns in person, number, and gender according to rules. Verbs agree with their nominatives in person and number according to the rules. Some adjectives agree with their nouns in number. The arrangement of words which will sufficiently treated of in the observation hereafter to be made on the several rules of in an important parts of syntax, in which not only the beauty but the propriety of the language is immediately conquered, and to which particular attention should therefore be paid in composition. But it is to be remembered that the mere collection of words in a sentence never affects the method of parsing them. On the contrary, the same words, however placed, are always to be parsed in precisely the same way, so long as they express precisely the same meaning. We are at liberty to declare the meaning by any arrangement which will make the construction more obvious, provided we retain both the sense and all the words unaltered. But to drop or alter any word is to prevent the text under prevention of anything, and to make a mockery of parsing. There can be a true ellipsis of what is not necessary to the construction. Please subscribe my channel, like and share with your friends.